having to tell people is that I've never had a boyfriend. And they never ever believe me. But yes, I'm 22 years old and I've never had a boyfriend. And when I say boyfriend, I mean like a real deal outside of high school, no supervision, adult, mature, I decide to be with you, you decide to be with me, I'm your girlfriend, you're my boyfriend, relationship, you know? Like something real. And on the one hand, it's not like I haven't tried. I definitely have tried. I live in Atlanta, so my options are very limited. And because I've tried, I've seen that, you know, men cannot be shit sometimes. So, you know, I have experience with men, but no experience in a real relationship. And on the one hand, people always tell me, you know, I'm young, I have time, don't worry about it, focus on school, focus on this, focus on that. But those people have already been my age and had their first serious relationship or first couple of serious relationships. So I guess they're speaking from hindsight, but also it's like, it feels like a rites of passage that I'm kind of missing out on. So with me about to turn 23, I kind of have to reflect on it and actually sit and see how I feel. Because on the one hand, I do want a relationship, and on the other hand, I don't. So one side of me is stuck feeling bad for myself, and then the other side of me is like, well, maybe I'm not missing out on anything, and maybe I'm saving myself from something that a lot of people have experienced already, but I won't. Another part of me just feels like as I get older, it might just be less and less likely to happen for me. And maybe at 23, I just need to start making myself comfortable with the idea that it might never happen. Some people don't find their person, and that just is what it is. I know that's kind of a bleak mindset. I'm still extremely a hopeless romantic. I believe that it can happen for me, but I also want to put myself in the mind frame of even if it doesn't happen for me, or even if it doesn't happen the way I think it will, or even if it doesn't pan out the way I think it will, I still want to be able to be happy with my life. So that's what I'm working on now.
After careful consideration, I decided that I don't want a boyfriend anymore. Yay! I'm entering the age where Nigerian girls like me get a little panicked. We get a little pressured because we feel like, oh my gosh, I need to find someone before I'm 30. Because if I don't find someone before I'm 30, I'm gonna be alone forever. That stopped working on me a long time ago. And it's not even a thing of like, I just don't like anyone. I have liked people. I just don't think that I end up always being aligned with those people because love is always a thing of luck. It's very refreshing to live life, especially as a mid-20s woman who is quite literally facing pressure from all sides of her life to find a partner and be partnered. Parents and my grandparents are worried. They fasted and prayed for me. Remember that? They're still doing that, by the way. I think for my early 20s, I really did make my life surrounded by having a boyfriend. I wasted so much time focusing on being partnered and having a boyfriend to feel like nothing was wrong with me. I think the kind of character development that I needed to have to really grow up was needed. A man would have derailed me from my path. I don't think that's just the focus for me right now. I think there's still a lot of things that I have to accomplish and really settle down first before that even happens. I think I'm getting a lot cooler and a lot more level-headed. I will say this though, if you want companionship, it's okay to want companionship. Do not bully yourself into not wanting companionship. If you want love, want it. Get to know people, talk to people, do whatever, explore. Why not? Especially if you're in your early 20s, of course, it's the perfect time to date casually and just date around and see what you like and don't like. And trust me, I did a lot of that. I think if I just need to slow down and just focus on me, I mean, really focus on me, not just fake focus on me, I'll be good.
Like, why would I want to go to work and then come home to a man that wants to freak me, and then I might even have to cook and clean, or we even may make some kids, so now I have to go to work, come home to the man and some kids, and then I have to cook and clean, and then I have to freak the man to please him when all I could do was just go to work and go home to myself and pay my own bills and live in peace.
With me to go on a date while we talk about the fear of dating and how to get over it. It's no news that I only went on 2 dates last year, but if you guys didn't know me, I also probably went on like 5 the year before, 0 the year before that, maybe 2 the year before that. There's not a history of dating when it comes to me. I unfortunately got into the Reddit threads and I realized there's a misconception about me just going around hooking up with guys. Obviously, if you know me, that's not the case. I've gone years celibate. So obviously never had a boyfriend and I've never really dated normally. Like I've only ever been pretty love bombed, to be honest, or had a situationship where we didn't do normal dates. We just like hung out as friends and I caught feelings. I'm 25 now, but when I got out of college, I'd only been on like 2 real dates, and I didn't really know how to date. Like every time I would sign myself up for a date, oh my God, I can't believe I just said that. I would get so anxious. I would text my friends like, I can't go, I can't do it, I literally can't do it. And I think a lot of that also comes from being younger and having insecurities. Every time I would go on a date, instead of actually enjoying the date and trying to see if I actually liked the guy, I was just so anxious that I was gonna say something wrong or that he wasn't gonna like me, that he wasn't gonna like me. Now that's literally no way to date someone, because the whole purpose of dating someone is seeing if they're compatible for you. And if you turn yourself into a version that you're not, then you're gonna attract someone that's not compatible for you. That's where the social media presence thing comes in, because I do usually say no to dates. Unfortunately, we've talked about this, I have a strong male following sometimes. So I get a lot of scrutiny and like mean comments online constantly, and I always get male attention even if it's unwanted. So I usually say no just because I don't feel like it. But in the situation I do like a guy, I used to kind of be like, I'm not even gonna go. Like in high school, fuck no. In college, no, I would not go. It just came into like 2 years after college where I finally was like forcing myself to go on dates to actually be a person. And the other day I was talking about this guy that I'm currently seeing, and I was like, you know, like obviously like I don't live here, like I don't know what's going on. But I told my friends I feel really comfortable. Like I'm actually going on dates like frequently, and I'm enjoying them, and I'm like being myself. I'm not like putting up a wall or like trying to be someone different. I think a lot of it comes from honestly just being more used to talking to people in general. When I moved to New York City, I dated half my friends. I like asked them to go get coffee and I had to like chat them up. So it's the same thing as that, just with the opposite sex. But with that social media comment, it's also different, because when I post something, it can be immediately scrutinized as me saying something about someone I'm seeing. And I'm not used to that as someone who just posts whatever they're thinking all the time and doesn't really look into any deeper meaning. It's also hard to have privacy. Like I've had people be like, oh my God, I saw you with the guy. I'm like, oh, okay. Like I didn't even know you knew who I was. These are battles that I am currently learning how to migrate. Anyways, I'm leaving Sydney tomorrow, but I just think I'm happy that I'm putting myself out there. And you know what? It doesn't always have to mean it's gonna be something insane or like not everything. I used to think I couldn't date unless I was gonna marry them. Like, I don't know. Why can't I just see and experience someone and then figure it out later? I've also been hurt a lot, so I try to not put up a front, but I definitely do. And I think learning to get through that, it's progress. Anyways, I'll probably continue to not share most of my romantic life online because I just don't really like doing that, to be honest. If you're someone like me who's never had a boyfriend and they're 25, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. I mean, also men suck, so like whatever, but like don't be afraid to put yourself out there if you feel ready. Okay, love you girls, wish me luck.
Man, so let's talk about women being single too long, or never having a boyfriend. All right, never having a boyfriend in their late 20s, 30s, 40s. I seen Average Men Unplugged talk about this. I'm not new at this. I've heard this a couple times, and with all this, manosphere content going around, and females also putting content out there. I think most people gonna assume, even if you say you were celibate or you was you a virgin, most people are not gonna assume that, but not gonna believe it. But at the same time, I mean, yeah, it happens. I feel like if you was focusing on being a doctor, a lawyer, you really was in school and you really was grinding, then from my standpoint of view, I can kind of see it. You know what I'm saying? I kind of can see. Okay, I was working hard and I was grinding and I was doing that. I can kind of see it from that standpoint of view. I ain't really had time for this or that, but a lot of when you hear a woman not having a boyfriend, a lot of it come with you ain't a virgin. You ain't a virgin. So you just basically been going around and no guy wanted to commit to you, and then the lies start flowing in like, well, yeah, guys wanted to commit to me, but I didn't want to commit to them. Then that just let us know you was messing with guys that you really didn't like. That's the problem. You was messing with guys. You was letting guys you hit, that either you like, but hey, guess what? He didn't have, he wasn't satisfactory enough to be my boyfriend. You see that all the time. It's a lot of girls that got boyfriends, and they can't bring them around their family. They can't be seen with them in public. Not from the standpoint of the girl is, inadequate to the satisfaction, to the point that the man that they with is a bum. He's trash. He don't want to come around, or she too embarrassed by it. And you believe it or not, a lot of women are embarrassed by their taste. Even when women get on the internet and they start talking about professing their love for scammers, Glocktavius, Pookies, and Ray Rays, think about that. If the black people make up 12%, and they can lie about the numbers, whatever you want to lie about, I'm pretty sure. It's a lot of, black people that's claiming other races. You got a lot of other races that's claiming Brad and Becky, right? We know that to be true. But just to say the 12% was true, right? You could bump it up to 20 if you feel, or 22 if you feel better. You could bump it up to a quarter of American population if it make you feel better. Okay? That's still a small percentage compared to the other 75%. If you come out, and a lot of the other 75% can't relate to that. Yeah, they like bad boys, they like the jocks, or they like the asshole, lawyers. But, a lot of them, they ain't dealing with the drug dealers or the scammers. They ain't really dealing with that, man. They ain't dealing with that. And really a lot of women that, like, especially the black women that say that they, that really reveal their type when they get older, a lot of times it's an embarrassment. Even though they like to get on the internet and kiki and laugh about it, for a lot of times for them, it's an embarrassment. They're embarrassed. They're embarrassed. They're embarrassed. They're embarrassed. But your type is your type and your taste is your taste. That's the fact about it. That's why you see women, they got married to the perfect guy. He's a great guy, but they taste is just trash. They like trash ass men. They like to be hit. They like to be beat. They like to be in the shootout. They like to be, you know what I'm saying? They like trash ass niggas, man. That's just, that is what it is. It's a lot of guys that like ugly women. And the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It's a lot of women that like ugly niggas. You think all women like a sexy, beautiful, or pretty? Well, hell no. You got some women that like bigger guys. You got some women that like, fat guys. You got, like, the variety is bananas, right? But when you back on topic, when you start talking about when you've been out here, you 27, 28, 29 and up, and you never had a boyfriend, and you wasn't grinding in school, or, you wasn't talking about, that raises red, and most red flag. Most guys gonna jump to the conclusion, but you was still out here fucking. You was still out here sleeping with guys. So you sleeping with guys, and now I'm the first guy. And a lot of these girls say, well, also in addition, I never been on a date as far as that. A lot of these girls said I had a boyfriend, but I never been on a date. This is my first. If you in your early 20s to mid 20s, that's understandable. Okay, I get it. But if you 30, if you 28, I say 27, 28, 29, 30, it's like, what you been doing? Especially if you ain't got no career or no real degree to show for it, where you really was around like a lawyer and a doctor, I had to focus on this. Like I said, that's understandable. If you coming in with a real degree that really you had to put some work in and focus on, I think a lot of guys would be like, okay, she has some casual sex here and there. I get it. Because she coming into the game, especially if she's going to be good at what she do, a doctor, a lawyer, a real, tough engineer. Most guys can accept that. Most guys can accept that when you coming in and you making real money. Most guys can work with that. Most guys can feng shui with that, bro. And that's a fact. But not having a boyfriend for that long a period, I mean, yeah, we think you a hoe. Now, is that going to, disqualify you from every man? No, these niggas is thirsty. These niggas is thirsty. But the problem is, no guy really seen potential in you like that. Now, You might be like, well, I really didn't care for them or like them like that, or they wasn't really my. But why are you dealing with a guy? You know, why are you letting the guy sleep with you? Why are you letting the guy sleep with you that you don't like? Like, that's one thing. That's the crazy thing about it, that we never, we get it, but like women, they sex is paramount for them. Y'all sleep with guys that y'all see no future with, and y'all give them more, tons of fun and all the buns and all the sexual fantasies, and that's just crazy. But then you talking about he's not adequate enough to be your boyfriend. That's crazy. That's crazy. Then why you sleeping with him? You know what I'm saying? That's one thing. So we just think with women that never had a boyfriend, and especially ain't no virgin for that long, most guys been hitting you and not giving you, and been giving you the bare minimum, but then they come on the internet talking about dates is the bare minimum, and like, okay, cool. The bare minimum is a lot of y'all getting smashed for nothing. A lot of these women been on a 2-man situation with their homegirl, and the dude ain't do nothing. He ain't roll up with them or nothing. He just straight up put the pound town on you, and that's what it was. He just smashed you. A lot of these women smashed for absolutely nothing, and it was no love involved. They didn't love this nigga. It was just raw attraction. Raw attraction. And Too Short had a song, it's called Can't Fight the Feeling. A lot of women, when they have attraction to you like that, they gonna give it to you. Women don't have no vagina discipline when it comes to a very attractive guy that they want. Only thing that makes them less reckless than they really are, you know what I'm saying, especially young women, what makes them less reckless than they are is that they too proud to beg. They too proud to flat out come out and say it. They're too embarrassed to flat out come out and say, I just want to fuck. They put all these little hints and little innuendos, and to tell guys they're attracted to them and all. They put all these little hints out here and stuff of that nature. But a lot of women, when they talk about having sex with you, they put these they put these caveats in there. Well, not caveats. They pretty much be like, they say it in other ways. I want to be affectionate, or what you doing? Can I come over tonight? They say stuff like that. Instead of just saying, let me get some. I'm horny. You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot for women to say shit like that. Or they got to be real comfortable with you. But hey, thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the link in the description, join the Patreon. Peace.
I just turned 28 years old and I've never had a boyfriend, so let's talk about it. So there are 5 main reasons why I think I've never had a boyfriend, and we're starting off really strong with reason number 1, which is that I have deep-rooted rejection and abandonment issues. But this started for me when I was 8 years old, and I got a phone call from my dad the day after Father's Day, pretty much saying that he wanted nothing to do with me and he didn't want to be in my life anymore. Now, of course, this messed me up because this is supposed to be someone that loves you unconditionally, and yeah, for context, my parents split up when my mum was 4 months pregnant, but she never kept him away from me, and he was in my life and we had a pretty good relationship up until this point. And I still never know the reason for this phone call. So this was a foundation layer for the brick wall that I started to build around my heart at an early age. And at the same time, I was also getting pretty badly bullied in primary school, so all of these sort of incidents added more bricks to this wall. As I got older and I started having crushes on people and liking people, those feelings weren't reciprocated, so that rejection came to the forefront again and added more bricks to this wall. So as you can imagine, at 28, this brick wall is quite high. Reason number 2, I was a late bloomer. Because of everything that happened to me in my childhood with the bullying and then the incident with my dad, I was so low in confidence and self-esteem when I got to high school. Having a boyfriend was not my top priority, and I couldn't even imagine someone liking me when I didn't even like myself. So then everyone was getting into relationships and having their first kiss and, heartbreaks and all of that sort of stuff, and I just wasn't doing that. That has kind of snowballed into adulthood, and I'm still battling with low confidence and self-esteem. So yeah, and for reference, I didn't have my first kiss till I was 22 years old. Reason number 3, I read a lot of romance books, and it has altered my brain in probably not the best of ways. I love romance, I consume it like candy. It isn't great escapism, it's obviously fiction and it's not realistic. And because I don't have a great frame of reference for what a relationship and what a boyfriend is like, All I'm going off is this fictional book that I'm reading, and so my expectations are incredibly high and incredibly unrealistic. While I never ever want to lower my standards and settle for anything that I don't deserve, I do realize that people are not perfect, and I'm far from perfect, so I can't be expecting my partner to be this majestical being that, you know, is only written about in books. Reason number 4, I don't like dating apps. I can 100% say for sure that I am definitely a lot more shallow on dating apps than I would ever be in real life, because all I'm going off is what someone looks like and maybe if they're a little bit funny in their prompts. I feel like dating apps are so ingrained in Australian culture and it's just what everyone's on. But I feel so shallow on them, and I find it incredibly hard to talk to more than one person at a time, and I definitely know that most guys are talking to multiple people at the same time, and I just can't do it. I also find it really hard to get past the initial conversations on dating apps, because everyone is always swiping. Everyone is always seeing if there is someone else that's better. Instead of actually talking and connecting with the people that you already matched with, we're swiping to see if we can find someone hotter, taller, you know, has a better job, because there could be someone better around the corner. Reason number 5, which I don't really like talking about too much, but I'm gonna bring it up. The way I look and because of my height. Obviously, I am a black woman and I live in Melbourne, Australia. And as much as people don't want to admit it, Australia is quite racist. I'm also 6 foot tall. For those who've never met me in person, I'm 6 foot tall. I'll be honest and say that I do have my bias, because I would prefer to date someone that is taller than me. And I know probably that a lot of guys are swiping no on me on apps because of my height and they don't want to date someone that's taller than them. But yeah, being a black woman in Australia is hard enough, and then add in the dating element and it's quite challenging. You see it a lot in like Love Island Australia, if you're watching that now, or if you've watched past seasons. You'll often see how black people, especially black women, are treated on those shows, and it's just heartbreaking. Like, they're often chosen last, they're often sent home early, they often either get coupled up with someone that doesn't want to be with them, or they're coupled up with someone that acts to like them to coast through the finals, and then they're left on their own by the end of the whole experience. I just feel like it is quite challenging, and a lot of people in Australia are not open to dating what they're not comfortable with and what they don't perceive to be the beauty standard, because I am so far from the beauty standard in Australia, it's not funny. Great, so yeah, that's some of the reasons why I think I'm still single. There are obviously a whole bunch more, but that would be like an hour video, and who has the time for that? But it's not all doom and gloom, because I have a lovely family dinner tonight for my birthday, and then I'm going out with some friends afterwards, so I got a good community around me, and I will find my special person someday. When that will be, I don't know. But yes, I do realize that I need to go to therapy as well.